Now, let me say something right quick. I think back on the African American people in America. I think how that they were taken against their wills, put in the belly of ships, brought over here, beat, cussed. Many of them died in the guts of those ships, thrown overboard. They were pulled from families over there. You ain't never heard a gut-wrenching song. Do you hear a black person sing one of those old black Negro spirituals? Nobody knows. I can't sing it like that, see, because I hadn't experienced what they be. When you've experienced hell, it comes out of the voice. I said, when you experience hell, it comes out of the voice. If you're one of those people that you got problem with black people or whatever, you better shut your mouth, because they're God's people. You better hear what I'm saying to you. You better shut your mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep South, and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system. It'll cause you to suffer right along with those masters. It'll cause you to suffer right along with them. These are God's people. And I know that there's wicked in white races and wicked in black races and all that. I'm not justifying none of that stuff. I'm just saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here. And God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor. You watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you.
And you already know on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable, because if we don't, who will? And before we start this video, if you don't like black people, black issues, black talks, get to stepping. And look, I need y'all to plant this pastor, plant what he said in your minds, because throughout this video, we're going to talk about what he said, because what he said was right. But I saw something so crazy. The FBI director, Kash Patel, he had the audacity to disrespect Assata Shakur, even after she died. And this man never spoke on her. So guess what? I have to speak on him. Check this out. Kash Patel said this in a tweet. She murdered New Jersey trooper Werner Foerster in cold blood, then fled to Cuba to escape accountability. The FBI never stopped calling her what she was, a terrorist. Mourning her is spitting on the badge and the blood of every cop who gave their life in service. Make that make sense. This little dude, he wasn't even born at the time, and he don't care about cops the same way he don't care when an innocent black man is murdered by a cop and the FBI does nothing every single time. Tell me I'm lying. He had the audacity to call Assata a terrorist. Let's be real. We all know who the real terrorist is. And if you don't know, now you know. Run a tape.
The mass shootings last week, angry white men with guns. The mass shootings yesterday, angry white men with guns. Past is the best predictor of the future, and that tells us that the mass shootings tomorrow will be angry white men with guns. America has a problem, and it's not a mystery. It's angry white men with guns, and I'll give you 3 things about it. Thing number 1, corporate media bends over backwards to label these men as loners or mentally unstable. But the numbers tell a different story. We're averaging almost a mass shooting a day. That's not an accident. That's a pattern America refuses to name out loud. Thing number 2, the FBI data, the Cato Institute, and your own eyes make it very clear. The face of terrorism in America isn't black. It isn't Muslim. It isn't a trans immigrant. Statistically speaking, it's Christian white men between the age of 22 and 49. That's who keeps showing up in the data and in the headlines. Thing number 3, and this is important to note, this is not new. This country was built on white male violence. From the killing and removal of native people, to the slave trade, to Jim Crow terrorizing black communities. Violence has always been the default tool of power. The mass shootings we see today are just a modern extension of that history. What's important for you to understand going forward is politicians and corporations have a vested interest of keeping you distracted from that truth. Because if you follow that thread too far, you'll start to see what they already know. Capitalism needs white supremacy to survive. Until more people are willing to face that fact, this cycle will just continue.
Church bombings, church shootings, boat shootings, school shootings, country club shootings, mass shootings over and over and over again. Tell me I'm lying. See, this pastor brought up slavery, but I can go back to recent times when the FBI did everything to hold our people back. The FBI did everything to stop the black community right in their tracks. Check this out. The Black Panther Party was one of the FBI's biggest targets. The Panthers were monitored constantly, with agents infiltrating local chapters to sow distrust. The FBI spread misinformation to fuel conflicts between the Panthers and rival organizations. The Bureau coordinated with police departments for raids on Panther offices and homes. These raids often turned violent, such as the 1969 Chicago police raid that unalived Fred Hampton, a young Panther leader, in his sleep. Many historians argue this was an assassination facilitated by FBI intelligence. Make that make sense. So Cash Patel, who are the real terrorists, they did whatever they can do to hold our people back, even going through slavery. After slavery, our ancestors were stepping. After slavery, they owned their own black towns, had their own black businesses, they owned lands, they owned all their homes, and guess who destroyed that? And let's move on. They thought about unaliving our black leaders. They thought about locking up all our black groups, that will stop us, that will make us fold. Nope, we still acknowledge them. We still keep their name alive. We still learn from them. And that's not it. Let's move on. The FBI, the CIA, the government, whatever you want to call them, they decided to plant drugs in our community. And this was all exposed by a Caucasian journalist named Gary Webb. And after he exposed all this stuff, guess what they did? They unalived him. I keep telling y'all, the game is cold. These people been hating on us. And see, like I told y'all earlier, that pastor was right. The tables are finally turning. Just look online. Racist Caucasian people, they not laughing no more. They not having fun. They not dancing. They not joking around. They trolling. They mad. They crying. And look at the black community. Yeah, we going through our little stuff here and there like we always been going through. But for the most part, we still creating. We still building. We still evolving. We still dancing. We still laughing. We still laughing. And they don't like that. Matter of fact, check this out. And this article is by Ohio Capital Journal. It was published September 30th, 2025. Ohio family farmers describe life under Trump tariffs. We're in a hell of a mess here. We're in a hell of a mess here, say Ohio Chris Gibbs, as he worked on his combine at the start of harvest season. Some growers have called the fallout from his chaotic trade war and reciprocal tariffs. It provoked a Farmageddon that could ruin what made America great. Is that bad? Make that make sense. And this going on with all Caucasian farmers in this country. And you have to check this out. See, a lot of that farmland was stolen from black farmers as far back as 1919. They didn't earn that farmland. They didn't work hard for that farmland. They didn't deserve that farmland. They didn't sacrifice for that farmland. They murdered for that farmland. They stole that farmland. Wait, y'all hear that? Yeah, who the real victims now? Who begging for government assistance now? I said, who are the real victims now? Don't worry, I'll wait. And look, y'all, believe it or not, white America is crumbling. But before I go on, let me talk to Charlie Kirk right quick. Charlie Kirk, you was the real DEI. You wasn't no real activist. You debated college kids. You was a debater. You will never be on Assata Shakur's level. You will never touch her. You can never be compared to her. And if I'm lying, please tell me I'm lying. And before I go, I have to say this. I have to speak from the heart when I end these videos. Until this country shows some respect for the people who built this country, who made this country what it is, our ancestors, it will always be chaos within the Caucasian community until this country admits what they did to the black community. Because they always love saying black people are always playing victim. They always love to complain. Look what you did to our people throughout history. This pastor was right the whole time. He was right. Look what you did to our people to stop our people, and still you don't stop our people. You had 400 years of a head start. And if you look at real life, see, the media love to play it like Black people still behind. Black people, they got their old rhetoric. They got the old stats. They love to say the old stuff that's going to trigger us, but that don't work anymore. They try to trigger us. It don't work anymore. We not falling for it. Y'all at a civil war with your own people, Caucasian versus Caucasian. So until you show our ancestors, until you show our Black people some respect, it's gonna stay chaos. And in the words of Johnny Gill, my, how the tables have turned. And you, Cash Patel, don't worry about it. I'm out. But before I go, I'm gonna let a Black woman talk to you. Run the tape.
Okay, so let's have a conversation just really quick for Cash Patel. So I find it very interesting that the government decided to tell us not too long ago that you should call people's jobs and get them fired if they don't have any sympathy or they don't want to mourn or they say something wrong against Charlie Kirk. Well, now you have the government coming forward. We have had another political activist, that's what you call Charlie Kirk, that has died, okay, which is Assata Shakur. And then you have the government coming forward and speaking, Cash Patel, the director of the FBI, saying, do not mourn this woman. She was a fugitive. She killed an officer, blah, 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 blah. Even though this country has admitted to COINTELPRO, if you know Assata's story, you know that she was shot twice with her hands up. They left her in solitary confinement for 2 years. They beat her and tortured her when she went to the hospital. They had her locked up in men's prisons most of the time, and she had some really dope-ass friends that broke her out and let her go to Cuba. We all know that COINTELPRO admitted that they were there to get rid of and kill and survey any Black messiah that might rise up. So while you guys were threatening her life and putting them all at risk, even after she had gone through trials where she was found not guilty of something, y'all still put a threat on her life. And we all know that the system is crooked. And then here you have Cash Patel coming and telling people we shouldn't mourn for her. I would just like to remind Cash something. If it wasn't for the Black revolutionaries and those people back in the day who did all of that work on the civil rights and trying to get equality for all oppressed people, which is something Assata Shakur did fight for, I want you to know your Indian ass wouldn't even be here, much less in a position to be the fucking FBI director. So I think you ought to put a little bit more respect on her motherfucking name.